Hello, everyone. I'm your host, Thomas Stoneham-Judge, leading conversation with the ForReel team on the latest movie releases. This week, we are discussing Eden and a myriad of other movies that all just decided to come out this weekend. So, Derrick is the only one who survived on the island. So, I've got Derrick Murray here, and we've got a great show for you this week on ForReel. Derrick, welcome to the conversation.
Yeah, excited to be here. This Friday has just been an absolute insane day for releases. I cannot wrap my head around why everyone was like August 22nd. Yeah, drop it. Everybody.
all the festival movies, any last minute summer releases, like let's just get them all out. All the indie films, August 22nd is the day, so that's what happened.
Yeah, no, absolutely insane. I don't know where that decision came from, but
yeah, and it's tough. One of the big reasons we couldn't get the rest of the team on here is because everyone's kind of picking different movies to go to. There's no like one standout movie to. Maybe you can make an argument for something. I don't know. Honey, don't, I guess, but
no,
Honey, don't, according to Derrick.
Honey, don't see it. Most of the movies that I think we want to talk about before we really get into Eden, and we can obviously we can talk about whatever you want, but most of the movies I've seen, I think the only one I ended up missing yesterday because I was going to see Splitsville, which is a highly anticipated Cannes film. It stars my boo, Adria Arjona, who can do no wrong, and I very much want to see it. But
I didn't even realize she was in that. I knew Dakota Johnson was there, and I turned up for Dakota Johnson. But Adria Arjona,
it's both just like two of the most beautiful women in the world in a movie about monogamy and affairs and open relationships, and I need that in my life. Feed that into my veins.
I just didn't even I knew this movie was coming out. I knew nothing about it. There's so many movies, and I'm of course in TIFF mode right now, so I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to new releases. But dang, this just hit my radar. This is I need to see this now.
Yeah. So I think that's really the biggest one. Obviously, I haven't seen Neja 2, which I've now missed twice because I missed it when it came around in its original version, and now that they have the English dub, I've missed that one as well so far. But most of the other, and there are like 10 movies that came out on Friday, so only missing 2 isn't that bad.
Let me just list out the ones that stood out to me, are the ones that I recognize. So like Neja 2, I did see that in its original form back in February. Amazing. Relay, which was a TIFF premiere last year. So Honey Don't, like I mentioned. Then there Splitsville, you just mentioned. The Balconettes is this weekend. Eden, which we're going to talk about, and also Lurker. Lurker came out this weekend as well. So just like everything.
I think the 4 that we should have somewhat of a discussion about, even if you haven't seen them, would probably be Relay, Lurker. Oh my God! See, this is how many. Honey, don't.
Neja 2. I'll talk a little bit about Neja 2.
Right, those 4. Those 4.
I think so, because I haven't seen Honey Don't. Relay, you said Relay.
Yeah.
The Balconettes. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh no, I have it in my inbox, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's a couple that we want to touch on. And so we'll get to that. You know what? I'll kick it off with just mentioning Neja 2 and how much fun I had with that movie when it was in limited release back in February. Obviously, this movie made headlines for being the highest grossing animated movie of all time, which caught my attention. That said, oh, there's demand for this. I want to see it. And so I did. I went out of my way to go to Vancouver to check it out up there, and with my friend Darren. That was a good time. And yeah, it is spectacle. It is incredible spectacle. Just so visually arresting and so action, and it's just everything is so, it's such a visceral experience, I think, and I had such a blast with it. So fun, and I'm happy that it's in IMAX, and I don't know, maybe mainstream audiences might roll their eyes, but I don't want dubbed. I just want the original form of the film in IMAX. So like if you guys can put a couple screenings out there in the original form, I don't need the English. It was just fine to watch in its original language. But in either form, I do highly recommend seeing this on the biggest screen possible. It is a blast. Uh,
Cool.
so anyway, there's my take on Nija 2. So since I picked that, we'll move on to the next one. Whatever we want to
Well, let's talk about Relay because I feel like you've seen Relay, right?
relay. And I
Right?
didn't
You did not? Is that what you just said?
like it. That's what I said. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'll let you tell everyone why they should like it. And then I can be
I
the
don't know about all
negative
that.
Nancy over here.
This is the second episode in a row where my role is changed. Yeah, I genuinely enjoyed this movie. I stand hard for Riz Ahmed. I like Lily
Yo.
James, even though I feel like Lily James doesn't always choose the best projects. But I think her own talent is big enough to make bad movies good, or at least deliver good performances in bad movies.
Mhm.
So I genuinely enjoy her on screen. I think her and Ahmed have great chemistry. I think the concept is a really, really unique premise. I like the way that it unfolds. I'm a sucker for paranoid thrillers, especially ones that are like deeply rooted in like that late 90s, early 2000s vibe. It's genuinely just a vibe of movie that I love, and I can't ever get enough of them. And Relay is very much a movie they don't make anymore. And bringing that back with this, I really, really dug. So I liked a lot of that stuff. I love kind of that espionage, corporate, corporate thriller type of thing. Like I said, I think the premise is very inventive. I will say that the third act twist, which I'm not going to spoil here, but there is a third act twist that either it really only incites one of two reactions. You either throw your hands up in the air and you're like, all right, let's go. Or you roll your eyes so hard they go all the way into the back of your head and you're like, I'm over this. I don't want this anymore. Those are really the only, there's no other way to come away from this film. Because I think it's really, really engaging for those first two acts. And then when this twist happens, it is the definitive deciding factor as to how you feel about the movie overall. So I vibed with it. Like, it didn't bother me, but I understand why people just leapt off the train as soon as it happens.
I certify Derrick's perspective here. I don't think there's anything he said here that's wrong. It's really just a matter of whether you vibe with it or not. And I just didn't. And look, hey, again, I also stand for Riz Ahmed. He's gonna be at TIFF again, bro. If you want to hang out sometime, let me know. If you're listening to this for whatever reason, I would love to hang out and grab a coffee or something, right? So I love Riz Ahmed. I was absolutely going to turn up for that movie at TIFF last year, but it didn't quite appeal to me in its style. And I was one of those people. So I'm already kind of like loosely attached to it, like not really fully invested into it. And then the twist happened, and I was one that rolled my eyes so hard I about fell out my chair. And that's just my experience. Now, this isn't me saying don't see Relay, because I know a lot of people that walked away from TIFF enjoying that movie, and having a good time with it. And so, this is just my experience with it, and I wish it was better. I wish it was something that I could have connected with, and it just wasn't. And that's how that story goes. So
yeah. Well, look, David Mackenzie's back at TIFF with another
dang.
another thriller.
Oh, that's
So
right. He is.
yeah,
Yeah.
that cast is that cast is stacked, baby. I've got it on my list. I found a way to fit it into my schedule. So that's
actually, I'm just remembering. So when I saw Relay last year, it was the second movie of 4 movies that day, and I think the unfortunate thing about Relay is I don't think it had time to sit in my head in a way that would help it age better because I had so many good movies that day. I saw Heretic
Mm.
before going into Relay.
Heretic's fun.
Yo,
Yeah,
Heretic rips.
Heretic riffs. I actually watched it again because it was on like HBO Max or something like
I have
that.
seen it like 3 or 4 times. That movie
Yeah,
is
no,
so good.
it's dope. It's
So
dope.
I saw Heretic before Relay. After Relay, I went into Emilia Perez, which took up all my brain power trying to like process whether that movie was worth liking or not. And
Spoiler alert, it's
then
not. I
right,
I take back every good thing I said about that movie.
we had a
I
whole award season to really scratch our head about that
I
movie.
know.
And
God, I don't like to. I, this is a total tangent, but
yeah.
I typically do not believe in going back and rewriting reviews, because I
Mm-hmm,
think when you do something, when you sit down, that is your perspective at the time, right? That's
mm-hmm,
when you've collected all of your thoughts, and that's how you feel.
right.
Of all the things I've done, let's just say in the last 2 years, and I've written a ton of reviews.
Yes, you
Of
have.
all of them, that is the one I wish I could take back. I was all in on vibes, and I defended that movie, and over time I have discovered that it is defenseless, and
Yeah.
I would remove every compliment from that review and just essentially just rip it to shreds.
Yeah,
So
we saw that one together. I think we were both at that premiere, right? Did you go to
were
the
we? I
premiere? Did
thought,
you
yeah, we
I
did.
feel
Right?
like we
Was it
saw that
you
because
or
we were
was
in
it
the very
Danny?
back row, and that was a
Oh,
long movie,
that's right.
right?
That's right. We were in
And
the
yeah,
very,
this
very back row. Not just the back
yes.
row. We were in the back row of the balcony,
Oh
and there
yeah,
are
like
three
way
sections.
back there. Yo, like nosebleeds would have been better seats than this.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
but yeah, and it's so interesting the steam that movie picked up over award season. And I don't know, maybe I might have been able to appreciate it if it wasn't so over celebrated. Like I could respect what they were trying to do with the film, but just all of the accolades just like kind of
They're they're
ended
they're
it for me.
undeserved.
Yeah.
I will. I'm okay with Zoe Saldana
Hmm.
earning her stripes here because I think she
Yes.
is actually exceptional.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you let that movie sit with you for more than 2.5 seconds, it just absolutely crumbles. There's just nothing there, and it comes from a almost an intention of malice,
Right.
and it just feels completely off for the subject matter and
Mhm.
who is doing it, and yeah, no, it's all bad.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that so
I have
that
regrets. I don't. I stand on most of my business with my hot takes, but that is one I can look at and say yes, no, Derrick was wrong. Yeah,
yeah,
Derrick
well,
was wrong here.
it happens to the best of us, but then after Emilia Perez, I went right into Queer,
Oh,
and oh
what a
my
day!
goodness,
What
dude,
a
that was a
day!
day. That was a day because Queer just like rearranged like my mental brain cells. Like that movie was just so. I don't know if you've seen Queer, you know it's just like this rapturous like journey, and I at the end of that ride, I was just like mesmerized. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how to feel about this yet, but I feel something.
Yep.
And that was one that then took the rest of my like brain for the rest of like 2 or 3 months to just like sit with. And that movie is so great. It's so
No,
great.
Queer. I just to again not to go off too far of a tangent, but Queer is a movie that because there, especially with how many movies we see, and when you do festivals,
Mhm,
there's a lot of movies that sit with you, and as much as it's good to get your review out as quickly as you can to be a part of the
mhm,
discussion and join the discourse, I actually think it's really good to just let movies marinate. Even if you're the last one to drop your review and get it published, um, you might allow things to take shape and come to light
mhm,
as you let those things rest with you. I did that with On Becoming a Guinea Fowl,
mhm,
because that
mhm,
was a movie where I saw it and I was like, yeah, I liked this, but I don't know what to do with it. And so I'm glad I didn't rush to go write a review. I let it sit for almost 6 months. And then I was like, oh no, this might be a
mhm,
masterpiece. Like this might be
mhm,
one of the greatest movies ever made of the year. But I felt very similarly with Queer, where
mhm,
it took me quite a few months for it to start resonating and taking shape. And then once it did, I was like, yeah, no, this is in my top 10. This
mhm.
movie
Yep.
rips.
It's
So
so
yeah,
good.
yeah,
And so
very, very good.
anyway, it's kind of tangents, but I mentioned that because like that day, Heretic took all of my entertainment attention. Emilia Perez took all of my processing attention. Queer took all of my attention. Like I had a lot to think about that day, and
Yeah.
Relay was just one of those movies that did not stick with me like any of those. So I maybe if I had seen it like on release, I may have had different expectations or different been a different environment for me to
Yeah.
really connect with it. But anyway, but
And to be fair, that's a hard sandwich to to squeeze Relay into. It's not. It doesn't have the staying power or the thematic resonance that those, for better or worse, when it comes to like Emilia Perez and Queer. But there's
for
a lot more to
sure.
talk about with those than there is Relay. But look,
Yes.
if you like paranoid thrillers and you like Riz Ahmed, this is a good movie. And Sam Worthington actually gets to act, and he's not in a blue technology suit just covered in balls. It's good. Good for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He has I'm sorry, I know I keep doing tangents, but
No, it's good. Tangents are great.
he has genuinely one of the most fascinating careers I've ever seen. He just got the role of a lifetime and then just sits back, collects dummy checks from Avatar, and then just waits for James Cameron to give him a call and be like, "Hey, bro, we're making another one. Suit up." And then he shows up. The movie makes $2 gazillion, and then he f's off for 6, 7, 8, a year, 2 years, 3 years until James Cameron calls him again. He's like, "Hey, bro, we're doing another one." Like, what a life!
Must be nice. Must be nice, right? Oh man, that's hilarious. Let's move on to Lurker.
Ooh, yeah.
Lurker is another one that I got to sit with for a little bit. So I saw that one at Sundance. I was one of the like 10 people that got into the press screening because
that
that was
of all
that was
the
a really
it's wild because Lurker wasn't necessarily the most talked about film, but it was easy because we saw it together, and it was easily, without a doubt, the longest press line of the entire festival.
And I feel like they put it in like the smallest theater. I don't think they gave it a theater worthy of having the only press screening before the Tuesday premiere or the Wednesday premiere, because it was going to premiere at a time when press was going to be gone.
Yeah, we
and
were all
so,
gone.
Yeah. And so they put it on a Sunday and they put it in the smallest theater, and everybody's trying to see this because there's a lot of buzz about it. And yeah, it was a long press line and a lot of people didn't get into that.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lurker. This one, I enjoyed this one a lot. When I saw it at Sundance, I wanted to give it a second watch to see like how much of what I felt about it holds up now that I know kind of how it pans out. But I think the craft and the talent in this movie really sticks with me here. I liked the storytelling style, like how the movie is stylized, and the performances. Theodore Pellerin, I thought did a really good job, and Archie Madekwe as well. Just
that boy's coming into his own big time, man.
Oh, for sure.
Big time. This is his best role. And I've liked him in a lot of stuff, but he is excellent here.
He is, and it's so interesting because there's a lot of comparisons I made between Lurker and Saltburn, like narratively, and so it's kind of interesting to see him be in one role in Saltburn and then have this kind of this like parallel story, or this movie that has a lot of like same narrative DNA, and then having like what would be the lead role in Saltburn in this movie. Or that influencer role, I guess. Like, so yeah, having him in that, I thought he did a great job. And yeah, I think this movie really kept me like engaged and really just leaning into it, wondering what's going to happen next and how all of this is going to pan out. And I liked how it resolved. I think some people kind of had issues with like how it ended and where the story ended up going and the ultimate message here, but I dug it, especially with the fact that I hated Saltburn's ending. And so
yeah, I'm gonna stand. Look, hot takes. I'm gonna stand on business. Lurker is the better version of Saltburn.
Yes, absolutely.
Lurker is the Saltburn we should have gotten. Yeah, I think one of the things that Lurker does really well, aside from just having incredible performances and just being pretty well crafted, I think it's just a really well put together movie. And I know the director's a little off-putting if you've ever seen him in interviews, and especially the red carpets at Sundance. People were like, "What? Are you okay?" Um, but
Which is so funny because in the movie, this isn't spoiling anything, but in the movie, oh wait, maybe I'm not going to go there. Anyway, I
well,
have
no.
a thought.
So
I'll
I
feel
mean, and I don't know that this is a spoiler, but if you kind of know what the film is about, right? It's
Mhm,
essentially about a nobody who has a run in with an up and coming artist, and then essentially tries to win himself into that inner circle at all costs.
mhm,
To be just in that orbit of celebrity and fame. That's really what it is. So on its most basic level, we've seen this movie 1,000 times, right?
mhm,
We've seen the stalker, we've seen the
mhm,
obsessor, we've seen the fame and fortune being the pinnacle of all things, and what will you take, what will you do, and what does it take to get there? What I
mhm.
really love about Lurker and what I think sets it apart is Lurker forces you to be complicit in all of the things that he does. So Theodore
Absolutely.
Pellegrin plays that person who, and so it puts you in the perspective of the obsessor rather than
Mhm,
the obsessee. And it's no longer about the target of the affection, it's about the affection itself and what
mhm,
you will do to do that. So, as an antithesis to Saltburn, where
mhm.
Saltburn, you're never quite sure what side you're on until
Right.
all gets revealed in the end.
Mhm.
Whereas Lurker is very straight up. They don't hide anything.
Yeah.
From the very, very beginning that this dude, like, there's something wrong with this boy. And
Mhm,
you should be very cautious because he is going to do whatever it takes. And they don't hide anything that he does to find his way into the circle and stay there. And it's a very unsettling and uncomfortable watch. But I think that's one of the things that really lends Lurker to set itself apart from its peers in that, yeah, it makes the audience complicit in the actions that you see, and as those things escalate, you are now basically involved in what he's doing, because you don't necessarily want to root for him, but he is both the protagonist and the antagonist of this
mhm.
story. And I just loved that. I was completely enthralled by this movie. So
Yeah, I mean, that's a great way of putting it. I think Saltburn has this first half record flip, second half thing that goes on where you're rooting for the main character, but then there's the record flip that happens, and then that's where I got lost in Saltburn. Like I don't really care where this is going for,
murder
but
on the dance floor, baby.
but you're right. Like from the get go, you're not necessarily rooting for Theodore Pellin's character. He's there, he's doing his thing, and you're just kind of like, okay, like going along with it. It's almost like a pressure from the movie for you to be just riding shotgun with this dude, doing whatever he has to do, and it's not wrong, but you're along for the ride. But I think it's also interesting because Artie Madekwe is also not necessarily a good guy from the
Mm-hmm.
get-go. Like this, he's also not someone that you're trying to root for. And so you're in this like nebulous state of like, I don't know who to root for, but we're going on this ride, and that's where you're talking about complicity in how this story unfolds. You don't have a good guy to ride shotgun with, where you can feel comfortable
Mm-hmm.
with your experience of the film. It's very uncomfortable the whole time in a
Mm-hmm.
way that really challenges how you're experiencing this movie, all the way up until the end. Um, and I loved how this movie ended and that
Yeah,
climax and
so good.
yeah.
It's so good. And it also, I think Lurker, uh, I think when it comes to endings, I think Lurker is just a lot more clear about
Mhm,
what it's trying to say about fame, celebrity culture,
mhm,
really just that corruption of fame and fortune, and what that actually looks like, and what all the dangers that come with that, and uh just how far it can escalate and how far it can go if this truly is all you want.
mhm.
So I really, really like that. Yeah, this Lurker is excellent. I really,
Yeah,
really loved this one.
yeah, absolutely,
Probably the
absolutely.
best of the bunch, honestly.
Probably. If you have not seen Lurker, I would prioritize that this weekend.
Yeah.
It's a good one for sure. All right, so you touched on Splitsville, we touched on Nizat 2, we talked about Relay, we talked about Lurker. Let's get into Eden. So we're gonna move
And
forward
just
with
so
this.
everybody, you don't need to talk about Honey Don't. It's fine. We don't. There's no conversation that needs to be had. The only thing that needs to be said is those boys need to get back together. I don't care what their scheduling conflicts are. They need to just fix that shit and get it together. If Noel and Liam Gallagher can get it together and put aside their bullshit to bring Oasis back, you guys can figure out whatever you need to do. There are 12 months in a year. You boys can figure it out. Just put some shit on the calendar and get back together for all of us, baby. Please. And
There you
rant.
go. You heard it here.
So you can tell I really loved Honey Don't.
It was kind of nice hearing your take and kind of moving that off of my list of movies that I need to see right now, because there's a lot going on right now. So
Yes.
it's nice.
Yes.
It's nice to push that one to VOD if I ever want to get around to it.
Yeah, it's the only place to watch it if you're going to watch it at all. And look, that's a big deal for me because, again, we stand for a lot of people here.
Yes.
But I
Yeah.
stand hard for Margaret Qualley. Like, that woman can do no wrong. And she's not wrong in this. She's very good. But, man, Ethan, you can't do it without Joel. I'm sorry. You just can't. You boys need each other. You need each
other. That's funny. Okay, so we're gonna move forward with Eden conversation, and we tried to keep all the other movies kind of spoiler free, but I think we're gonna move forward with Eden in a spoiler manner. So if you haven't seen Eden, go check it out. Put a pin on this part of the conversation, then come back to it after you've seen Eden. But man, Eden. So I saw this one at TIFF last year at the P&I screening, and it was interesting because it was on my list of movies to see, but I don't know if it was really high as of a priority. In fact, I think I got there really last minute and got kind of a terrible seat. So that's the only reason I would sit where I remember sitting in that theater, is because I got there. I was doing other things and was like, I'll go see Eden. Fine. I have 2 minutes to get into the screening. And so that was kind of my attitude going into it. And I'm actually really happy that I went to see it, because I liked it a lot. I was very much interested in like this kind of mystery thing going on with like what's going to happen with these characters who are all kind of beefing on this island. And I think to that point, the cast is fantastic. Like, I loved the cast in this movie, particularly, which I think goes without saying, if you've seen the movie, you know, Ana De Armas is having a great time with this role.
She's in a different movie.
She is. She really is. And I love it. It was so nice kind of having that like breath of fresh air. So even in the picture of Derrick's background, everybody's wearing brown except Ana De Armas. Let me tell you, that's the vibe of this movie. Okay. That is what she's bringing to this movie. She is like just this array of entertainment here, and I loved it. So there's a lot to talk about. Derrick, I don't know what your reactions were when you saw it.
Yeah, so I did see this at TIFF. I braved the Roy Thompson Hall and saw it at its premiere.
Wow.
Two things happened at this one. One, I had really great seats. I was like middle balcony, or I'm sorry, middle orchestra. It was, you know, one of the best seats in the house. So I saw it at the premiere, got to see the whole cast, super close. I could almost touch Ana de Armas, but I didn't. Because that would have just changed my life forever.
Banned from TIFF forever, but worth
it. But then the second thing, somebody had a seizure during the screening, and they had to turn it all off. They had to turn off the screening and turn on all the lights. So we got like a good 25 minute interruption, and then the movie reset. So it was a weird gap. It was a very strange viewing experience. All that to say, I think there's a lot of criticism that gets lauded on this movie, and I think all of it is justified. It is Ron Howard at his bleakest. It is Ron Howard at his most cynical, but it is also Ron Howard at his most hollow. And he doesn't really have a lot to say about his subject matter. And so you just kind of watch this kind of Lord of the Flies, Worst of Humanity version unfold. And I almost wonder what it would be like if you had somebody who is more comfortable with the material, because it's just
Mhm.
so out of left field that Ron Howard is attached to this. It's very bizarre, and I wonder what it would be like if somebody else who has a little bit more savvy when it comes to this type of thing. And I would keep the cast, because you're right, the cast is excellent. They're phenomenal. But yeah, I wonder what this would be like with somebody a little bit more competent in the genre and a little bit more in tune with the themes
Mhm.
of the story. That I wonder what the end product would be. All that
Yeah.
to say, miss me with your criticisms. I friggin' loved this. I aside from all of that, I love that Ron Howard turned a very bleak survivalist story into a soap opera melodrama. But
Mhm.
bro, sign me up.
Yeah.
I loved it. Loved it. Daytime TV. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, it's funny with Ron Howard's name attached to it. I'm like, I feel like they should be fighting and a comet should hit or something. Like that's the um, but I think you're right. There, I think a lot of the criticisms wanted a different movie, and it's kind of an open playing field, right? I can't remember what the source material is, but even the source material is like a book. But
Well,
even
yeah,
the source,
it's a book, but it's a true story.
it's a true story.
Yeah.
The book is kind of the account of what happened, but also there's doubts about whether the book's even accurate. So you have a wide playing field with how to tell this story, and keep it interesting. And I think maybe people wanted a different movie and just wanted a different variation of this story. But when I'm trying, because I try not to do that, I try not to impose the movie I wanted onto the movie that we got. And so I think the movie that we got does do a really good job of like weaving these narratives and creating that melodrama that you're talking about, but also really building up to these really climactic events with these characters and building that tension. I think my criticism was I wanted more suspense, I wanted more tension. I think that there is drama, and I think that there's some tension and so, obviously conflict, but I think I wanted more of that mystery in it. But again, that's me kind of imposing my movie onto this. I think what this is is very well executed for Ron Howard, for what it is. And like I said, particularly with the cast that really did a lot of the heavy lifting for keeping it entertaining. And yeah, that bleakness, that tone is definitely there to keep your interest and keep you invested in what's going to happen next.
Yeah. I agree too. I think there could be some more suspense, and I do think there's some really strong tension, but I do think it's mired in kind of over the top uh over the top melodrama, and I try, like, the only words I can kind of use to describe it is just kind of the soap opera made for TV, daytime TV vibe that happens even in one of my favorite scenes from this entire film
Oh, please
is
let this be the lunch
of
scene.
course, dude. Bro, conversation, like tense, uncomfortable conversations over food is having a revival in 2025. It's been like the linchpin of like 10 major movies this year, and Eden is no different. They
Right,
have this, so no, I mean, obviously we're spoiling some stuff, but I'll be a
right.
little bit more vague than normal. So basically, everybody is designated to a different part of this island, and they all have different intentions of what it is they're trying to do. So right out of the gate, none of them are actually getting along.
Mhm.
Ana De Armas comes in just like a bolt of lightning, and just this electrically charged, seductive, naive, transatlantic, melodramatic woman, and it is phenomenal. Like, it is,
Great.
when she enters the picture, you're just like, what did somebody change the movie?
A
Because
whole Yes, it's a totally different vibe when she shows up.
yeah, and she never changes.
No.
She totally clashes with every single person in this film, and it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it so hard. So they all have and obviously all this tension just continues to escalate, right? And so Ana de Armas decides that she's gonna have this passive aggressive peace talk lunch, and it is just the most catty, just passive aggressive,
Unhinged.
so unhinged dinner time, like lunch table scene. And oh my God, I vibed so hard with this. And as our good friend Eaton Dalton would say, this is vibes. This is all vibes. All vibes, all in. I adored this scene. It's so good.
That was easily the best scene. When that scene happened, like I was into the movie. Like I'm vibing with it. I Ana De Armas, you're bringing an energy. I'm loving it. But then that scene happens, and just and not only utilizes Ana De Armas's energy to really like orchestrate the chaos that this conversation is, but just like doubles down on her and her energy, and it's so good. I love that scene. I am so happy
It's
that
great.
you mentioned
It's
it, because
great. No, it's great. It's
maybe I might even put that as one of my favorite scenes of the year.
it is
It might,
definitely up there. It is definitely up there for sure. For sure. I
yeah.
know we got a lot of movies to see, but
Mhm.
so far it's and this movie by no means is this movie anywhere even near my top 20 probably. I dig it a lot, but I'm, I'm okay with admitting that most of these criticisms are fair, and
Mhm.
you're fine if you hate this movie. I get it.
Right.
But yeah, vibing with it. I just, that scene, I was like, yeah, no, this is it. This is cinema for me.
Mhm.
I love this. Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a great scene. And
So I
then
think,
I don't know if your audience did this, but I know mine did. So can I go into like a deep spoiler, like
yeah, let's go. Let's go.
major reveal? Okay,
Mhm.
so Ana de Armas gets shot in the head, which is, and it's semi on the heels of this scene that we just talked about. And I don't know about you, but my audience erupted into absolute uncontrollable laughter. You would have thought that this was like one of the best jokes in The Naked Gun, the way that this crowd just absolutely fell out when she got shot. And it's supposed to be this big, suspenseful, dramatic moment that alters the course of the escalating tension. And nobody bought it. Not for a second. Everybody was like, oh shit, it's a comedy.
That's funny. See, this is one of the reasons why I really try to get to like premieres and even just public screenings, because there is a massive difference between the public audience and the P&I audience. Like a lot of these press people are my friends. Love you guys. They're great. But like the P&I audience as a collective group can be a little
Tepid,
quiet, little tepid.
yeah, yeah.
They're just not quite as like engaged with the movie as someone who paid $90 for their ticket. you know so
They're engaged in a different way, and I
they're engaged
understand
in a
that.
different way. That's right.
But
Yes.
I think there's a fair few of us that are very much like, no, we go to the movies because we like this. We come to this place for magic, guys. It's okay to enjoy the movie as you're watching it. You can analyze every frame while still
Mhm.
enjoying the film. Those things don't have to be mutually exclusive. But
And to be fair, like I've always been a proponent of the fact that the theater experience is not just watching a movie on a big screen. How the audience reacts to a movie absolutely like affects how you experience this movie. And that's why when Midnight Madness, people stay up till midnight. You guys are crazy, but you stay up till midnight to go with the Midnight Madness audience, because
yep,
that screening is going to be better
yep,
than every other
100%,
screening at the festival, okay, of that
100%.
movie. The
I'm
P&I
gonna
is not, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna tangent real quick,
Yes, absolutely.
and I want to highlight highest to lowest,
Okay.
because that is a movie that is 100% what we're talking about. Watching this movie at home in the way that Apple TV and A24 have botched this release and made it nearly impossible to see, that is a movie where I saw it in a packed house. I mean, I haven't seen this many people wanting to go to the theater to watch a movie since Sinners. That's how
Mhm.
many people were in this theater on a random Saturday. Like I go to this theater all the time, and I'll see premieres there. I'll see huge movies. There were less people at Superman than there were at Highest to Lowest for this movie. Like that's how
Wow.
packed out it was.
Wow.
And I had an absolute blast because the crowd was so friggin' into it. They loved every second of this. They were laughing, they were cheering, and it just, to your point, it changes the game. It
Mhm.
just changes the way that you view the experience. And I get why press audiences don't necessarily do that, because they don't want to. But like, it's a joke. Laugh. It's okay.
Right,
Uh,
exactly.
it's
You can
okay.
if something shocking happens, you can cheer, you
Yes.
can laugh. It's
Yes.
fine, right?
Yeah.
As long as I mean, obviously, there's social standards, and you don't wanna, like, disrupt the whole movie experience if it's not appropriate, but, like, man, I just remember seeing Kill, the P&I screening for Kill.
Oh, see, and I
Man.
saw the Midnight Madness
Oh,
I saw
no,
the
the
Midnight Madness premiere, and I was like, "Oh, is this what Midnight Madness is? Then I'll do this all day."
I I would kill to have seen Kill at the Midnight Madness premiere, because when I went to the P&I screening, it was literally just like my row of friends who were like into it. Yo, that title card happens, we
So
all
good.
reacted like, no way, right? And
Oh,
I could
dude.
just only
Yeah.
imagine what a Midnight Madness crowd would have done at that title card. Like y'all probably went
Oh,
nuts.
I when I tell you, look, I love Midnight Madness, and I think for the most part they do a great job. But when you start with something like that, everything else is less than, because
Right?
that crowd was electric.
Mhm.
I did not know that you could watch movies like this. Like, that's how fired up this crowd was. Every bone break, every punch, every insane stunt, every machete kill, every single thing that happens in this movie, this crowd lost its goddamn mind. And it
I'm
was one of
so
the best
jealous, I'm so
theatrical
jealous.
viewing experiences. It was so dope, dude. It was awesome.
Damn, you gonna make me go to a Midnight Madness movie. I'm too old for Midnight Madness, but
I'm
like,
too
man,
old for Midnight Madness.
I got sleep to get. Look,
I know, I
but
know.
man,
Look, you and I don't agree on that when it comes to festivals, but we agree on this
right.
one. I am going to skip most Midnight Madness this year, but that's a different conversation. But anyway, so
Anyway,
going
yeah.
all the way back to Eden, my crowd was just, I think most of them didn't like this movie, but they laughed so hard when Ana De Armas died. And I know you're not supposed to. Like, it's clear the way that everything builds to this point in this movie, you are supposed to be shocked. You're supposed to be somewhat sad. You're supposed to be completely engaged by the suspense and the tension that just exploded, and this powder keg that just erupted on screen. But no, this is a melodramatic comedy, and we are all laughing. And I loved it. It was great. It was great. That's a great
Great.
reaction. I'm down. I'm
That's
all
so
in.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think there were some reactions in my theater, but again, it was a P&I screening, and so like everyone's just kind of like, watching the movie. But yeah, that was a shocking moment. And I'd actually be very, very curious how mainstream audiences experience this movie.
Mhm.
There's a part of me that wants to go see this in theaters just because I'd like to see the movie again, but I kind of want to see like what mainstream audiences do and how they react to this film. I'd be very interested in that. You were talking about you mentioned multiple times this is a melodramatic comedy, and as much as I think maybe people might have wanted a different movie or maybe a different director. I think that what Ron Howard brought with his style of filmmaking helped make this not ridiculous. Because he's bringing this bleakness, because he's bringing that very very serious kind of look and feel to the film, he's able somehow to balance the melodrama and the comedy, even unintentional. He's able to do that in a way that still comes off as like, this is still a drama. This is still a serious film. I think how the film looks, the color grading and the cinematography, everything still has this like, this is a serious drama kind of feel to it, but it also has these melodramatic and comedic elements that maybe wasn't intentional, but works because Ron Howard knows how to make a film look serious at least.
Yeah, I would argue though that because it's not intentional, it only works if you're, again, vibes. It only works
Right.
if you're bought into the vibe of the movie, right? Because
Yeah.
it becomes pretty apparent that when you are laughing and when you're kind of chuckling at the unintentional silliness of it, the unintentionality really does come to the forefront. And you really do recognize that this is not what he is setting out to do, but it is impossible to extrapolate and basically pull that out and still have the movie that you have. And
Hmm.
so there's almost this just completely unearthed and unintentioned version of this movie
Mhm.
that I think Ron Howard balances, but it's not by any work of his own. He
Yeah.
just, I
Mhm.
don't think he's the right director for this movie. And
Mhm.
so you do have this incredibly serious survivalist story clashing with this over the top melodrama that borderlines on humorous. And those two things should just clash completely because only one of them is its purpose. Uh, but if you're into it, then it doesn't really clash at all. And it feels more balanced than I think it was actually meant to be.
Mm,
I know
mhm.
that's I
Mhm.
think this movie is so challenging for me because I genuinely agree with most of the criticisms.
Mhm.
I really do. I think most people who have been pretty harsh on this film, I think most of them are right. I actually don't disagree with any of them, but this is one of those ones where I just don't care, and I still just really enjoyed it anyway.
What movie did we talk about last week? I'm spacing on the film. What did we talk about?
Oh, that was
Uh,
Nobody Too,
Nobody too.
where
This
that
is
was
this is
you. That was
that
you
was that
last
was
week.
me.
Yeah.
I was in your seat last time. So listening to very valid concerns, very valid criticisms. You are all right. Everything, there's nothing you guys have said that was out of pocket. Like everything makes sense. I still liked it. I don't know why, and I think that there is, critics get a bad rap for being too critical sometimes, but I think
No,
that
we get
there
a
are
bad rap for existing, but that's a different podcast.
I think that there are really good critics who can recognize that there's a part of us that are uh, that are analyzing the film from an analytical and more of an objective perspective, as objective as art can be, I guess. But then there's a part of us that can also recognize we can enjoy things that maybe aren't critically, um, you know, uh, prestigious or whatever, right? And I work with both sides of my brain when I'm watching a movie like that. Like, yeah, I'm looking at a lot of these technical components and I'm analyzing things. And yeah, I'm a critic, I'm gonna be critical. But there are so many times where I can be critical and have all these criticisms and still enjoy the movie. Like that is a possible thing, right? And it's kind of tough that we are limited to these rating systems that are pretty that are on like a linear scale because there's a lot of times where I invented my own rating system um, to accommodate for the fact that I enjoyed a movie that's objectively not good,
Yeah, sure.
and I tried my best to find that balance, but we are kind of limited. We need to be able to get our opinion out there in a very succinct manner that is digestible, and that tends to come off in like stars out of 10 ratings, things like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, a lot of times if you're just looking at the rating, you might actually be missing a lot of context. I can rate a movie, 2 stars, but enjoyed it because, I mean, some people might call that a guilty pleasure or whatever, but like I can enjoy a movie I think is not good.
Mhm.
I can also not enjoy a movie that is objectively really good, so there's
Yeah.
dynamics here, and I think that that's kind of what you're getting at here with Eden. Lots of
Yeah.
criticisms that can be had,
Sure.
but you can still enjoy it.
Sure. And I think that there's a sense of being able to admit that that art is subjective. I think that
Mhm.
we put a lot of objectivity onto something that we have to always take into account our own sensibilities. And I try to be really cautious about that.
Mhm.
And I try to make it very clear that this is why these things don't work for me. But I also have a tendency to like certain things. I have a tendency to gravitate towards certain genres and certain characterizations and certain stories, and those things can take precedence over bad filmmaking sometimes. And I think you can have objectively bad movies. I think that can happen. I think you can have objectively good movies, but there's always a level of subjectivity when you're approaching the film, and you always have to be cognizant of that. And if you are, then I think your criticisms tend to speak out a little bit better because you're admitting that yes, these are like going back to Relay for a second. You
Mhm.
know, Relay is a genre that I just vibe with. I just really enjoy late 90s, early 2000s paranoid thrillers. That's something that has always appealed to me. So naturally, when you have one that's as taut and as focused and as centered in that genre, I'm probably going to vibe with that movie, even if you've got some concerns or it doesn't, vibe with what you have. Going to something like this, I adore like chamber piece, small cast, star-studded cast like this,
Mhm.
where You basically isolate a group of people on whether it's a single setting room, whether it's an island like it is in Eden. I love those types of movies. Those things speak to me. I love when you have a very limited amount of characters and they're all forced to interact with each other. Those things just speak to my cinematic sensibilities. So something like Eden, right out of the gate, there's not a single person in this movie I don't like as a performer.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to pack a whole island with just these people, and I just get to watch them interact and go nuts and be ridiculous. Okay. What take my money. Shut up and take my money. So I can come away from something like Eden and recognize its criticisms are valid, but I did enjoy a lot of what's going on here. I do find it hilarious, and it's true that everybody is supposed to be German and they all have different accents. That is just amazing, and we should all, when this movie comes to streaming, which it will probably pretty soon, because I don't think it's going to do monster at the box office, but when it does, that's a great drinking game. Every time someone has a different accent, take a drink.
Yes. Oh, that would be a great holiday drinking game. I'm sure this movie will be on streaming by the time the holidays get around. Gather the family.
Yeah. Yep. The king of that, the absolute king of that game is Gangs of New York. That one you don't even have to do everybody. Just pick Leo and just take a drink every time his accent changes in that movie, and you will be absolutely annihilated. You will forget that you even watched Gangs of New York. But you can definitely do that with Eden here, because there is not a single person that speaks with the same accent. And they are all supposed to be German. And it's hilarious. It's so good. I love it though. I love the messiness of that, and I think it's good because you can feel every single performer. There's an earnestness from all of them, and they're not in on the joke, and I think that can put a lot of people off. But they're all taking this shit very seriously. Every single person. Even when they're unserious, like Jude Law with wooden teeth and just dirty, grimy, full frontal. You're just you are so unserious. Yeah.
Oh my God,
are so unserious, bro.
I just want to be on set when that was pitched. Ron just being like, "Hey, Jude, I've got an idea." those jeans, those trousers, those jeans that Sydney Sweeney has, you don't need those. You're good. I do wonder how people, you kind of talking about the cast, I do wonder how people are perceiving this movie with Sydney Sweeney in it, in the recent discussion controversy about Sydney Sweeney and those jeans. I don't know. Are people boycotting this movie? Are people embracing it? Like, what's the vibe there?
I think Sweeney, I think she's getting a little bit of a disservice for not the commercial in general, but I think people, I think her own celebrity and her own, we'll just call them assets, get in the way of what she can actually do on screen. Because when you see her in things like Eden, which I think she's actually really good, if you see her in things like Immaculate, which I think she's actually really good, even though I've got some gripes about that movie. Funnily enough, if I had a nickel for every time Sydney Sweeney gives birth in a horrendous, horrific way, I'd have 2 nickels, but it's weird that it happened twice. It's very weird.
That's her new typecast.
Yeah. Just give birth alone.
I'm sure she gave Vanessa Kirby tips before for the Fantastic Four.
Yeah, for sure. Here's how it's supposed. I got this. Just on set on F4, just telling her how to be pregnant on screen. It's amazing. But when she does stuff like this, I actually think she's really good. Reality is another really good one where she is so far against type in that movie, and she's really good. I think she is a good performer. But not to be crass, but I think the bust gets in the way a little bit. And it is distracting, and I get why you highlight it for your celebrity status, but at the same time, like that's not all she has, and we'll see it eventually. I think people will get over it, but she's good here. She's really good. I don't know what accent she's doing, but she's good in the movie.
Yeah, no, I agree. I liked her part in this movie before there was, this jeans controversy. And so, yeah, again, like when we talk about how great the cast is here, and the dynamics and everywhere, she's absolutely a part of that. Particularly getting closer to the end. I don't think she has a lot to do early on in the movie, but there's definitely more heft to her role as you get closer to the climax and the ending of the film. And
I
so,
wish
yeah,
I will say, as the movie goes on, I wish she had started a bit more assertive, because you get this, especially where things end, right? You get the
right.
sense that the reason she is one of the only survivors on the island and is able to, again, spoiler alert, like most of the people on this island die, whether it's on the island or trying to escape the island or over time. And so the conclusion, the true life conclusion of the story is that she is the only person that basically came to this island and managed to make it livable, and has basically set up a generational stake on this kind of remote island that is supposed to be uninhabitable, and she lived the rest of her life there. So I don't think that comes across in her character really until the end, when things really start to kind of get out of control and start to escalate. And I do kind of wish that she had a little bit more assertiveness in herself, because you get the sense that she has more survival instinct than anybody else on this island. And that's the conclusion, but that doesn't come across when they first get there. It really takes until really the third act when that really becomes apparent that, oh yeah, there's a reason she made it through. So it makes that true life conclusion a little unbelievable, but that's just that's more a gripe of the story rather than her performance, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think we can go ahead and wrap this one up. Did you have any final thoughts and a final rating for this one?
Yeah, I think I when I came out of the theater, I think I gave it like a 4. I can talk myself down to like a 3.5. Like I said, I get why people don't like this, but I vibed with it. I'm actually curious to see it again. I won't have time to rush to the theater, but when it does come to watching it at home, I'm I want to see it. It's been a year since I've seen it. I haven't seen it in a year, so maybe my fond memories are off. But I think this is a bleak, fun, unserious movie that wants to be more important than it is. And I think if you're cool with that, I think you'll actually have a pretty good time. And if for nothing else, Ana De Armas is worth seeing the movie. She's so good in this movie. I love what she's doing. I get it that she is in a different movie from the minute you meet her to the minute she gets shot in the face. But the time that she is on screen, phenomenal. Just give her more stuff to do like this, where she gets to just go wild and just be a catty, spoiled brat in a place that has no business being. Oh my god, I love it so much. I love her.
So great. Speaking of Ana De Armas, it's funny. So you were talking about how you were at the premiere, and you were just like in really great seats next to them. I promise you, I was closer to Ana De Armas, because I was, while you were sitting in the theater, I was on the red carpet. And this is my clip of Ana De Armas walking by me, I guess, just looking dazzling in that dress.
Oh my god.
Like, yeah, this, I mean,
okay, yeah, you were closer.
I was much closer. Look at this shot. This here.
Hey, look at that. Jesus.
I got that. Yo, I got that in 120 frames a second. I can put that in slow motion and make it extra sexy.
Oh my god. I would like you to send that to me for personal reasons.
For personal research, right?
for research. I'm gonna get into fashion, and I wanna analyze the premiere dress.
Okay, sure. Sure, sure. That red carpet, I think, sparked a lot of frustration with press because, as you saw, what she did. Obviously, she's one of the A-listers in the cast, and but just kind of walking by everyone is pretty much what everybody did. After we stood on that red carpet for 2 hours, but it's funny
Mhm.
because once I realized, like, okay, we're not we've been here for a long time, and we're not going to talk with anyone. I'm going to get the best damn footage I've ever
Yeah,
gotten
get the
on
shot,
this red
baby.
carpet.
Get the shot.
Yeah, post up. Let's get this shit. I'm not walking away from this carpet empty handed. So
Yeah.
I got
Yeah.
that shot, and I'm very happy with it.
You should be. It's incredible. It looks amazing.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah,
that was
it
good.
looks amazing. Yeah, she obviously she was a stunner,
Mm-hmm.
as always. And
Mm-hmm.
I have some I don't have them on me, but I have some pictures of the whole cast of just all standing on the
Nice.
stage, and it was pretty close. So it was pretty cool. But
Yeah,
um,
very cool.
yeah,
Anyway,
I would say just give Eden a chance.
yes.
If it's not for you, I get it. It's fine. But I think this movie has an audience, and I think there's some good stuff if you're willing to let it come through.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel the same way. I think we're pretty aligned on this one. It has problems. The criticisms are valid. But I just kind of enjoyed it. I vibed with it. I was along for the ride, and I didn't mind. So I think I landed more at like a 3.5 for it.
Mhm.
Um, which I mean, I walked out favorably, and I don't have a problem saying, hey, this might be worth checking out for you. And again, I can maybe just echoing everything. I think Derek just like nailed it. um, if it's not for you, it's not for you, and I totally get that. But if you can get in the vibe, if you can like really just like go with it, then there's entertainment to be had here, and I appreciated that. I just wish that my audience would have laughed as heartily as they did when she got slot like your audience did.
It was really fun. It was really fun.
Well,
Shouldn't be, but it was.
well, it wasn't my intention, but I think this conversation about last year's TIFF movie is kind of the precursor to all the TIFF talking we're about to do over the next couple weeks. What plans do you have for TIFF coming up?
Well, I'm gonna see everything.
Everything, literally. You guys,
All of it.
I've
Yeah.
seen his schedule.
All 300 movies. I'm doing it. 10 days. 30 movies a day, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I'm just gonna do a Netflix autoplay.
There you go. Are
That's
you still
how
watching? Damn, yeah, I'm still watching. Let's
yeah,
go.
I'm still watching. Let's go. I'm gonna watch 3 movies at the same time. Let's make it happen. Yeah, I've my schedule is still trying to come together. I've got some things I need to procure and line up. I'm gonna be there for 10 days, and I think I have 2.5 days that are completely locked. And then the rest are all hinging on very specific time allotments and tickets to make the day, to actually make it work. So I hate doing that, but that's just kind of where we are. But most of the big ones, I think almost every major movie that's dropping there outside of, I think Good Fortune, I think is the only one
Mm,
I'm just going to have to cross off entirely.
mhm,
But I think almost every major release at TIFF, I think I have a ticket for, or I have a P&I slot for. So
mhm.
the movies that are on there are all the high profile ones, and I'm pretty excited about it. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. My schedule's still coming together. I'm not quite as crazy as you are, but I also have a whole bunch of
Thomas
other
likes
things
his
going.
naps, guys.
I
Thomas
do like
likes
my
his naps.
naps. Yo, don't even like get it wrong. I love my naps. Okay. But yeah, I have a bunch of things. As you saw, I do red carpet stuff and I do interviews. And so I'll be kind of balancing movies and talking with filmmakers and actors and being on red carpets and stuff and networking. And it'll be kind of a multifaceted trip, and that's why I like staying for the whole festival, so that I do have a chance to like do everything that I need to. But we're definitely going to be covering it. We've got a bunch of team members that'll be over there, and a lot of content that's going to come out. And we're all looking forward to many of the same movies. And I think all of us kind of have different like when it comes to the smaller films that we're all looking for like the gems for. I think we all kind of have different locks on things, and so it's going to be interesting to kind of bring our our under the radar interests together and see what ends up being what ends up being kind of the under the radar gems that show up, because I think the festival always does a really great job of programming, and you can find some really good like independent films and smaller
I
films
think
that
that's what makes
yeah.
TIFF so much fun. Is yes, it's exhausting with 300 movies and trying to fit these horrendous schedules into single days. I every year it is an absolute nightmare. Um, but one of the best parts about TIFF isn't just being able to see a lot of these high profile movies, but it's being able to find those hidden gems. It's being able to experience cinema from around the world and catch movies that you probably never would have known even existed, and sitting down and just seeing one of the best films of the year that no one's ever heard of, and truthfully might not even be released in the US.
Hmm.
But that kind of discovery, those are the things that I think we all really love about cinema, and that's why it's always hard to build your schedule, but it's always so fun because everybody's got a different thing that they want to go after. They have a different unheralded film that they want to try
Hmm.
to track down and see that looks interesting to them. So after you get through, the first two P&I screenings of Wake Up Dead Man and Frankenstein, you know what I mean? Like after you cross those off the list, the
Hmm.
rest of the day is wide open to just discover cinema.
Hmm.
And I think that's what makes TIFF one of the most fun festivals, is that you get the opportunity to do that. In contrast to something like Sundance, where the slate is just a lot smaller and
Hmm.
it's a lot more geared towards just straight independent cinema, but then also it's really geared towards docs. So you have a very
Hmm. Hmm.
specific genre of movie that you're kind of going after. And that's great, but TIFF
Hmm.
is just so wide open. It's just, it's fun when you're on the ground and you hear people just talk about this movie that Sing Sing was like that.
Sing Sing, yep.
Nobody was talking about Sing Sing
Nope.
before the festival. And then slowly but surely, as all these people started singing it, they were like, bro, have you seen Sing Sing? Drop your schedule and go see Sing Sing.
Right.
So it's
Absolutely.
stuff like that. Discoveries like that are just awesome to find at TIFF. It's great. So I'm very
Hmm.
much looking forward to it.
Yeah, cannot wait. And we'll have a bunch of conversations leading up to that. So look out for that content coming up on ForReel. And of course, Derrick is going to be doing a ton of writing for NerdBot and publishing his reviews there. Maybe contributing a couple to ForReel. Still hashing out those details. We've got less than 2 weeks. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. This is going to be the last episode of this for a few weeks because, as we're mentioning, TIFF is happening, and that is where all of my attention is going to go for the next like 3 or 4 weeks now. So we'll return to doing this after TIFF, but yeah, stay tuned for a lot of TIFF content, and until the next time, we will see you later. Thanks, everyone.